Welcome everyone. Today I'll show you how to build a full over full bunk bed. It's great for kids and for adults. With many homes having small bedrooms, this bed is the perfect solution for maximizing vertical space. It's ideal for smaller rooms, giving your loved ones space for what matters, a study desk, extra storage space, or a play area where kids can truly make the room their own. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into how the loft bed frame is going to be made. So you're going to start by making the two frames of the loft bed. So take two 52-inch 2x4s and then two more towards the center here, and then two 76-inch 2x4s. Join them together with 3.5-inch screws and wood glue. Make sure that you pre-drill with a countersink drill bit to make sure the wood doesn't split. Join those together and then continue to build up your frame. So you're going to add two additional 52-inch 2x4s to the ends, and here you're going to use 2.5-inch screws so that they don't poke through the 2x4 on the other side. So again, countersink drill bit, use wood glue, and join those together. Next, you're going to add one more layer of 52-inch 2x4s. Same technique, same method. Continue to build it up now on the sides. So you're gonna add two 82-inch 2x4s to the ends here. And here again, use 2.5-inch screws so they don't poke through. And then go ahead and add one last layer of 82-inch 2x4s to the ends here as well. So next what you're going to do is trim the ends off here. So they're in blue. The parts that you have to trim off. This is just a simple 45-degree cut. So 3 inches here, 3 inches here, mark that off and then cut it. You can just use a miter saw for that. If you have a workbench, just roll the workbench up to the saw and then cut it off. That's the way that I did it. Next, you're going to create a second frame just like it. So you're gonna have two of these. These will be the frames for the full-size mattress. All right, so now we're gonna create the posts of the twin loft bed. So the idea is to take a simple 4x4 lumber post that's 70¼ inches long, and then to transform it into a post that has these semicircular grooves cut into it. This is where the frames that you made earlier are going to be inserted. So I haven't seen anybody else make this kind of joint on YouTube. I thought it was kind of cool because it's super easy to do, and I recently discovered it just by fooling around with the miter saw. So the idea is, the reason why it is semicircular, if you look, there's an arc here, is because the saw blade that you have from your miter saw is going to create that semicircular kind of arc right there. So the idea is you're gonna take your saw and then you're just gonna cut this area out, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to calibrate your saw. So take your 4x4 post and then draw a line like this, 1.5 inches away from this end and 1.5 inches away from this end. And next, you're going to mark the places that you're going to cut out. So this is going to be in the blue. So again, the thickness from here to here needs to match the thickness that you have for the frames that you made initially. If you planed all of your boards, then make this shorter. If you didn't, then it should be about 3.5 inches. Now, this is the placement, so 15 3/4 inches from this side, and then 9 5/8 from this side. If you do kind of change these up a little bit, make sure that all 4 of the posts are exactly the same. Okay, next you're going to take your miter saw, and you've got your markings on here. You've got your line here. Now it's time to calibrate it. So your miter saw has two features you're going to need. One is going to be that sliding feature, so the saw is able to slide back and forth. And then another one is the depth stopper. So you're gonna have a little bolt like this, and then something that will catch the bolt like that. So this little stand kicks out, and then the bolt is gonna catch it. And essentially it's gonna prevent the saw from going too deep, you're going to be able to set it. So that's how we're going to calibrate the saw to create that semicircular arc. All right, so how do you do it? So basically, you're going to slide out the saw and you're going to kind of fool around with the stop bolt up until you have it just right. So if you notice, the saw is matching up to the corners here, this corner and that corner. So when you think you have it, just right, what you're gonna do is lock the slider feature in place. So on my miter saw, there's this little lock. Same thing with the bolt. Usually there's another bolt that you kind of tighten this original bolt with. So once that's locked into place, you can test to see if you got it in the correct location. The way that I would test it is just take the 4x4 lumber post, put it as close as possible to the saw blade, and then just hit the power button and let it spin for like a second. What it's going to do is it's going to cut a temporary groove, and you can see like, okay, I still need to move it forward a little bit, or I need to make it go deeper a little bit. Basically, once you have it just right, make sure everything is very tightly locked into place, because you're going to want to keep that same depth and same kind of sliding depth for all of these. So next, what you're going to do is just go ahead and cut out these semicircular parts. So you're going to use the chop feature of the miter saw. So the miter saw is still able to go up and down, even though it's locked from going too deep and it's locked from sliding, but it can still go up and down. So what you're going to do is you're just going to start from the end. You're going to chop, making a bunch of semicircles, right, as you go. And then you're going to stop at the other end. Now, really important is that you do not make this area too big. If you make it too wide, then the bed frame is going to fit in here very loosely, and the bed won't be safe. So at that point, honestly, what I would do is I would just get a new 4x4. That's how important it is. So what I would do is I would start from the ends and then kind of work my way towards the middle. And I would do this more on the conservative end. So I would make these kind of incisions, then I would go and fit test, and then I would expand it a little bit if needed, and redo that and then expand it a little bit up until you have it just right. So once you've got this, go ahead and make this on all four of the posts. They should all be identical. And this honestly doesn't take too much time. Once you have everything calibrated, it's pretty quick. You should be able to do everything in like 20-30 minutes. All right, and for those who are looking for a more in-depth experience and a more in-depth blueprint, I do have a DIY bunk bed plan available. So this has dimensions, it's got estimates, it has all the tools that you're going to need, also links that will help you find the correct tools. It has a lumber shopping list, as well as a detailed lumber cut list that tells you what belongs to what and how to cut it to optimize it. And then of course it has the step-by-step instructions on how to actually build a bunk bed, with portions that talk about the building process, and then also the diagrams to accompany that. Also, I have a cut list optimizer. This will be for the plywood sheets. So this is also a detailed guide on how to cut the plywood so that you optimize cutting that and you have minimal waste as well. So how does this connect? Well, you're gonna put glue on the corners here, and you're gonna also add generous amounts of glue into the actual joint itself here on all of the sides. Then you're gonna put it together. So you're gonna put it together and add some ratchet straps. They're gonna go all the way around, providing a lot of pressure so that all the posts are going to be held together. The frame's gonna be held together. You can do that for both the top and bottom. So some things you could do to kind of save the sides of the wood is add a rag right here, or like an old t-shirt, so that it doesn't impress too hard on the wood. And just do that on all the sides. And this part should already be done in the room because once it's at this stage, it's going to be too big to fit through a door. So once you've got that, then you're going to leave these straps in. You're going to leave them in for the entire build and only remove them at the end. And sometimes if the straps aren't long enough, you can just link 2 of them together. So you might need a total of 4. All right, next we're going to add some plywood sheets. So this is 1.5 inch thick plywood. You have 27.5 by 76. You're going to need a total of 4 of these. And then go ahead and add them to the frame of the bed. So just using a simple nail gun, 1 inch pin nails, and then some wood glue to make sure everything's in place. Again, you're leaving the straps in place while doing this. Okay, now we're going to build the railing for the bed. So the railing is made from 2x4 lumber, so it's 55 inches here, 55 inch 2x3 lumber, and then 2 12 3/4 side lumber here from 2x3 lumber. The 2x4 lumber needs to be centered over the 2x3 lumber, or 2x4 over the 2x3, with 1.5 inches on both sides, kind of overhanging. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to add one more plywood sheet here. So it's a 1/2 inch thick, 55 by 14.25, and then it comes on just like that. So this creates a flush area right here. So that's why that overhang is happening. And here it's for decorative reasons. So you're going to create a total of 4 of these railing pieces. These are going to be your shorter pieces. And now you're going to create the same thing, but this time just for a longer piece. So you've got a 76 inch 2x4, 76 2x3, and then same thing for the sides here. Secure those together. Again, add a plywood sheet, staple it just like you did with the other one. Create a total of 2 of these. And how does this all come together? Well, your straps are still in place. You're going to have 2 long ones on the top, 2 short ones on the top, and the bottom, a long and a short one. So these are going to come in, and you're just going to secure them with 3.5 inch screws. So these are going to go directly through the wood here and into the post. And the reason why you're leaving the straps in is because these railing pieces, they help solidify everything. And everything needs to be very nice and tight, and the glue needs to be able to dry, and these railing are gonna make everything a lot more secure as well. So once you've got that in place, you're just gonna add some decorative 1x4 pieces, 76 inch and 55 inch. These are gonna be just nailed down to the bottom bunk bed here, just to kind of conceal that frame. All right, so lastly, let's go ahead and build the ladder. So you're gonna need a 55 inch and 7/8 inch 2x4 lumber piece. We're gonna make the ladder at a slight incline, and the reason why we're doing that is I'll explain it once we see it. So cut one end at 10 degrees, and then this end we're gonna cut at 10 degrees twice, okay? So you're gonna make 2 of these. And we're gonna also make 2 components here. This is 1x4 lumber, 7.5 and 9 1/8 inch 1x4 lumber. Cut both ends at 10 degrees. It creates this kind of parallelogram kind of shape for both of those. You need a total of 2 of these and a total of 8 of these. And then you're gonna have 18-inch long steps. That's made out of 2x4 lumber. So how does this come together? Well, you're gonna take those pink or salmon color pieces, put them on the bottom, add the step, which is the 2x4 lumber. You're gonna use 3.5 inch screws from the side, and then this is gonna be secured with just pin nails and like 1 inch nails. And just continue building up. So now you're using the mint green pieces. So keep going up and up. And then the last piece here, so there's the 2x4 lumber. It's gonna be secured at the same angle as you cut here. So that's a 10-degree angle. All right, now if you notice here, the steps are gonna be kind of sticking out a little bit because they're at an angle. You can use a sander or just a handheld planer and just knock those down. So that way it's a more neat finish. And now your ladder is ready to install. So you can use 3.5-inch screws and then just secure it directly to the bed here. The reason why it's better that the ladder is at a slight angle is if it was straight up and down, then anytime anyone's going in and out of the top bunk, they're going to be pulling the bed towards themselves. And then when they're on the top, it's going to be that tension is going to be released. So the bed is essentially wobbling back and forth each and every time someone comes in and out. If it's at a slight angle like this at 10 degrees, it's going to actually prolong the life of the bed. I would also suggest that at the bottom here, you add some rubber kind of like feet here. And the reason why is because it's going to give more stability to the bed, but also this ladder is not going to be moving around as well. So overall, it would be definitely a solid thing to add there. All right, that's it for today's video. For more DIY ideas, like, subscribe, and share your progress in the comments.